What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham Giuseppe Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network, as well as on the E! Network, as today we're talking Season 9, Episode 3 of Total Divas, called Rowdy Ronda. So, a lot like my last review that went up last week, what I'll be doing for this review as well, and likely the format that I'll be following going forward, is going to be just the entire episode play-by-play. In the last couple seasons, like with maybe not Total Bellas, but more so Total Divas, when you have like 3 or 4 stories going on in one episode, I've broken them down by stories because I thought it was easier to follow, more coherent, easy to understand. Unfortunately, so far with Season 9, all of the stories in any given episode have all kind of had to do with one another. And I feel like it's just a lot easier if I break it down scene by scene as it airs, as opposed to, oh, this happened, and then that happened, and then that happened. I might as well just run down what happened as it aired on the show. So that's exactly what this review is going to be. So anyway, the episode starts off with everyone that Sonya knows dressing up for the float that she has for the Gay Pride Parade. That includes Mandy Rose, Carmella, I believe Trinity Naomi is there, Charlie Caruso and all of her family, her girlfriend Ariana, her mom. I don't know about her dad, but her mom is definitely there. They all dress up. They all have a great time. Sonya's so happy to be so open about her sexuality now and just be out there and just, she was nervous going in, but you can see, how she acts while the thing is going on, that she's really, happy and is excited and she's really enjoying it. So anyway, after the fact, Carmella talks about the whole Corey Graves thing, or rather on the float itself, we hear Carmella talking with Sonya about the whole Corey Graves issue, or Charlie Caruso, one of the two. And she calls the whole Corey Graves fiasco a blessing in disguise. Because although the news of her dating Corey Graves got out in a way that she didn't appreciate, and it made her look terrible, people are calling her a homewrecker and all this other stuff. Although the reveal itself wasn't the greatest, she is happy to now be open about her relationship with Corey. They can't hide. They don't have to hide it anymore. They can just be open about it, and she can be free and happy. So that is one positive way of looking at it, which is nice. We then see Ronda Rousey, who invites Natty and TJ to her farm to kind of help Natty cope with the death of her father. And, she really has been moving on, or really lack of moving on, by not addressing the death of her father. And she's not really dealing with those emotions. Ronda wants to help her with that by inviting her to the farm and helping her, or rather having Natty help her with all the chores around the farm, stuff like that. Natty was expecting something completely different. She showed up looking all nice, wearing the nice boots and the lip gloss, and Ronda's like, put your working boots on, girl, take the lip gloss off, and get ready to shovel some shit. Because we're about to get down and dirty up in this bitch. That was not meant to rhyme, not that it really rhymed anyway, but regardless, Natty was expecting something completely different, but Ronda's idea of a fun time is not exactly in line with what Natalya had in mind. That rhymed a little better. Nonetheless, we then see Carmella and Sonya talking about the parade. And by the way, we see TJ. We're not really sure what he thinks about all of this. We're not sure if he couldn't care less or what the hell is going on with TJ. Because he's there for the moral support with Natty. And he's also helping around the farm with the same stuff that Ronda wants Natty to help with. But he comes across like he could not give two shits. Like he could not fucking care less. Which is why I love TJ. He probably doesn't want to do it either. But he's not making as big of a deal about it as Natty is. And that's to be expected. It's fucking Natalya. But anyway, going ahead of Carmella and Sonya here. They're talking about the parade in Carmella's hotel room, kind of recapping how fun of a time they had at the parade. And Sonya brings up how it's time for a storyline. I'm feeling more confident coming off the parade. I'm ready to kind of start something for myself. So she calls out Ronda Rousey on Twitter, or rather on Instagram, I think. By posting a picture of her and Ronda, probably from like early 2018 when the two briefly interacted on Raw, I think in April of last year. But nonetheless, she's not even consulting Carmella as to whether she should do it or not. She already did it, and she's just getting Carmella's thoughts. And Carmella's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, which it's obviously not. It was very stupid. Clearly, Sonya did not consult Ronda about this before she did it. She just wanted to start a storyline for herself by calling out Ronda Rousey. And it wasn't just see me in the ring, find me in the ring, Ronda, whatever. Not only did she bring up her similar MMA background to Ronda, she also brought up how, hey, Ronda is familiar with knees to the face. Like, I'll give you a knee to the face or whatever. Because Ronda was knocked out, I think, with a knee to the face in the UFC when she suffered her first defeat many years ago, back in 2015 or so. So it was kind of a personal shot from Sonya, even though she has that MMA experience, and she brings it up later how, because Ronda takes a shot at the fact that Sonya is an amateur MMA fighter. But she has every right to do that, because when Sonya gets personal like that, Ronda Rousey is well within her right to get personal as well, and Sonya can't handle it. But we get to that a little later on. Back to the Ronda Rousey farm for a second. Ronda starts to feel like she's finally beginning to break Natalya in terms of, getting her used to the farm lifestyle and starting to make her feel her own emotions and stuff like that. Because now Natalya is really starting to get frustrated with, the whole animal thing, and Ronda Rousey and Travis Brown talk about raising an animal and then killing it, which I don't necessarily agree with, but, they're talking about how they're killing these animals to raise their future kid that they don't have. I mean, I guess Travis has kids, but whatever. They're just cleaning poop from the stables at this point. Natalya's getting really frustrated, and I think Ronda either sees that or she starts to see that, hey, maybe Natalya's finally starting to think about and reflect on her father's death. But anyway, Carmella goes to Corey Graves' hotel room, and they talk it out after Carmella was kind of rude to Corey the last time they interacted here on the show, on the last episode, when the whole, when shit hit the fan with the whole wife thing, or ex-wife thing, rather, and she was freaking out about being called a homewrecker by all these people, and Corey was trying to console her, and she was like, no, I don't want any part of it, and then she just kind of ran away. And Corey, admitted as such here. He was like, listen, I tried to help you, I tried to be there for you, but you just turned me away. You didn't want any part of me. And she was like, oh, I apologize, blah, blah, blah. So they make up, and they get over it. Graves then formally asks Carmella out on a date. And he says, the next time we're in a city for more than 3 or 4 hours, we will go out on a date. And obviously she appreciates it. She eats that shit up because that's what girls do. And he's referencing the fact that they're in the same city for no more than 3 or 4 hours before they have to go to work, Raw, SmackDown, whatever. And then they move on. They go to bed. They move to the next city, the next night, the next morning, whatever. So they'll go out on a date one of these days when they have the time. Ronda, back at her farm, says that she saw Sonya's post on Instagram and says to Natalya that she's a professional at conflict. That, talking about herself, not Sonya. So then Sonya reads, or rather listens or watches Ronda's response on Instagram, because Ronda then responds to Sonya. And she called Sonya a hobbyist, saying, hey, she probably did this for a cup of coffee. She probably just did it because to kill time, whatever. And Sonya is really upset about that. She's really upset about being called a hobbyist by Ronda. Even though she's maybe not absolutely accurate. But again, going back to what I was saying earlier, when Sonya throws it out there that she wants to fight Ronda Rousey and takes a personal shot at her by referencing the fight where she lost for the first time, Ronda is well within her right at that point to fire back at Sonya any way she sees fit. And the fact that Sonya takes that so personally to be called a hobbyist is fucking ridiculous to me. She comes across as the one that's wrong in this situation. I am Team Ronda all the way here. I feel like she was a fucking baby for calling her out in the first place if she can't handle it. If you can't take it, then don't dish it out. That's just the way that it works. That's common sense. Anyway, Corey Graves and Carmella, we see them talking backstage at a WWE show about their new condo, Carmella's new condo, rather. And that's to plant the seeds for Carmella as she tells someone else a little later on, it was Sonya, that she's going to be throwing a surprise Vice-themed birthday party for Corey to kind of break in the new condo and to kind of introduce people to this other side of Corey that they have not yet, known up to this point. And she wants him to be surprised. So Sonya's like, oh, that's cool. And Carmella wants everyone to dress up. And she asks Sonya if she can wear a dress. And Sonya hates this. Sonya hates wearing dresses, apparently, because it brings her back to a time when she wasn't comfortable in her own skin. And she just feels she does not look good in dresses. And she absolutely hates wearing dresses. But she'll do it for her friend. Anyway, Ronda then finally breaks Natty down, and she says, listen, you should be focusing more on self-reflection as opposed to distracting yourself with work and all these other things. You gotta kind of let the death of your father sink in and really just kind of face it head on. That's the only way you will ever move on from it. And she's absolutely right. And Natalya even admits that she doesn't know how to deal with with these type of emotions, because something like this has never happened to her before, apparently. I mean, obviously, Owen died many, many years ago, but she was really young. And she was obviously a lot closer with her father because it was her father. So she doesn't really know how to deal with it, but Ronda's there to kind of lend a helping hand, be the shoulder for her to cry on if she ever needs someone to talk to about it. So Carmella, while they're in the area for her Vice-themed birthday party for Corey, she goes out with the girls, that being Sonya, Trinity, and Liv Morgan, who I'm surprised is not an official member of the show yet, considering she was all over this episode. They went to a mermaid show, which is where I guess you see guys and women, yeah, guys too, I guess it would be mermen in that case, swim around like this fish tank-like thing, dressed as mermaid people. Liv Morgan loves this. Liv is loving this, so she signs up not only herself but Trinity too to do the mermaid show, to train for it the next morning. And Trinity is like, I don't really feel comfortable doing this. I don't feel comfortable physically. And she brings up how she feels that people have brought up recently how she's put on weight and her body is just not made to be in one of those suits. She's not liking the idea of putting on this performance as a mermaid when she doesn't feel comfortable in her own skin physically. So anyway, Natty tells Rhonda that, hey, you should probably talk to Sonya about this whole thing. And then Rhonda says, listen, I don't need to talk to her about anything. If she wanted to talk to me, she can text me. We're all fucking adults here. It was obviously a performance. The fact that she put it up online made it a performance. It's all well within her character. And she is absolutely 130% correct. If you put it on social media, when you're a WWE superstar, 9 times out of 10, people are going to think it's a work. It's part of your character. Very rarely do people put up their real feelings on social media when it comes to taking shots at other people. Because you do that shit in private. It's just fucking juvenile. So that's what Rhonda thought it was. Hey, she wants to put on a performance. I'll put on a performance too. That's just the way that it is. I don't need to talk to her about shit. If she has anything to say to me, she has my number. She can text me if she really wants to. And she also says, listen, I don't give a shit. I don't care if I offend anybody. If you want to come at me, I'll come right back at you. So back the fuck off. So Liv Morgan and Trinity go to the mermaid show training. And Trinity, again, is having second thoughts about this whole thing. She doesn't even know if she'll fit into the outfit because she has a very unique body shape, to say the least. She's not fat or anything. I guess she thinks that she's overweight or whatever. She looks great, but she doesn't feel comfortable wearing this like tight bikini or whatever it is. So Carmella is getting ready for the party. She calls Corey to make sure that he's on his way to the party, even though he doesn't know it's a surprise birthday party, clearly. And he has to break the bad news. I'm afraid I got some bad news. He's got to break the bad news to Carmella over the phone that he can't make it. There's bad weather up in the Northeast. He's got to go pick up his kids first before he can, visit Carmella. So he won't be able to make it, at least not at that point. So Carmella's really bummed out about it. The girls get ready for the party, dress up in their 80s themed clothing, whatever. Natty shows up completely forgetting that it's 80s themed, because that's Natalya for you. What else is new? That is absolutely something I could see Natalya doing, being told that it's a Vice themed party and then completely forgetting about it. Anyway, so Carmella has to explain to everybody individually, because they're all asking, oh, where's Corey? Where's Corey? Where's Corey? And she has to explain to everybody, hey, he can't make it for X, Y, and Z. And she's telling the truth, but it hurts her even more to know that she was over it initially, but having to tell everybody that he's not going to make it is only making her feel worse. And I don't blame her whatsoever. That's completely natural. But anyway, so Sonya's at the party. She's completely freaking out. She's freaking out wearing this dress. She's like, I don't feel comfortable wearing this. I feel like a fucking grandma. And she starts taking off all the shit that she's wearing. Because again, she's like, I don't feel comfortable at all. And she's also freaking out in the back in some random room, complaining about the Ronda Rousey comment. So the whole dress thing I get, but the Ronda Rousey shit, as I mentioned earlier, is completely blown out of proportion in terms of, at least as far as Sonya goes, and, taking it personally, and Ronda, she thought was taking shots at her. Get the fuck over it. She was like, oh, it hit too close to home. Really? Get the fuck out of here. Being called a hobbyist is that big of an offense, and if you're really that offended, then don't dish it out in the first place. If anyone should be offended, it's Ronda. So back the fuck up, lady. I thought that was so annoying. But anyway, Liv Morgan being Liv Morgan brings a stripper pole to the party. What else is new? Then Carmella calls Corey to tell him, hey, this was supposed to be your surprise birthday party. Hope you appreciate it. She FaceTimes with everyone else in the room, with Corey on the phone to kind of show him, hey, this party was supposed to be for you. And they make up and they're like, blah, blah, blah. Corey feels really bad he can't make it, but it's a weather issue, so it makes sense. And then finally, to close out the episode, we're not really sure. We see Liv Morgan in the fish tank doing the whole mermaid show thing. And, Carmella's watching and Sonya's watching. Everyone's watching, supporting, Liv Morgan and Naomi Trinity doing this whole mermaid show. And you see Liv Morgan in there. We're not really sure if Trinity went through with it. Ultimately, she did. They teased that she didn't. And it took her a little longer, but then we see her on the other side of the fish tank, swimming on through, wearing the, mermaid suit, whatever. And she's doing great. She's doing an awesome job, and people are very proud of her. Sonya's, she's like, oh, she's really proud of her, and, they were really happy that she went through with it. So, really cool for Trinity to overcome her fear of, body shamed or whatever reason that she didn't do the show initially. She overcame that just to have some fun, which is really commendable. But that closed out episode 3 of season 9 of Total Divas, called Rowdy Ronda. Check it out right now on the E! Network. It's probably up on demand if you want to watch it, or before the 4th episode airs on Tuesday. But nonetheless, guys, thank you, as always, for checking out my review for this entertaining episode, as always, of Total Divas. You can like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. New Total Divas reviews go up every single week right here on the channel. This will probably be going up on Friday. Not sure what will be going up on Saturday or Sunday. I will be out all weekend, so you might see some miscellaneous content up here on the channel in the days to come. And nonetheless, though, guys, have a great rest of your weekend. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.